Hello and welcome, this is AgentXP and welcome back to another author playthrough. This is my 22nd released level and this time it's a team effort. This is a team Christmas level called Another Christmas Carnival and builders include myself, AgentXP, Jesus Seacroft, Mario Sponge, Shabobab and Shadowy Jaw. This level was actually started last year in 2022. Originally intended for release as part of the 2022 calendar, unfortunately, due to several factors including illness, especially on my part, we were unable to finish it in time for last Christmas. And I've been plugging away at it all year since, trying to tie all the threads together and produce a cohesive story between everybody's different parts. And I'd like to think, even though it's been quite a lot of effort, that it's been worthwhile, as I'm pretty pleased with how it's turned out in the end. I came up with the idea of building a carnival because I really liked an old game called Barbie Detective and the Mystery of the Carnival Caper, and everyone seemed to like the idea. There are only a handful of custom levels set in carnivals, and to my knowledge all of those are abandoned spooky carnivals. So I think we've created something very unique and vibrant with this level. And if you ever played that old Barbie game, be on the lookout for a few influences here and there.
Hi Lara, thank you for coming so promptly.
No problem. It makes a nice change to have a peaceful night out at the carnival.
Well, I'm not sure if it's peaceful here compared to Tombs, but I hope you enjoy yourself while you're here.
You'd be surprised. The undead can be a pretty riotous bunch at times. And that's without Winston's loud music.
Speaking of the undead, I'm afraid I didn't just invite you here for a fun evening. I did have another motive. Something that might be within your area of expertise.
Oh? Sounds intriguing. Tell me more.
There have been some strange things going on at the carnival. Random things gone wrong. I have a feeling someone is up to no good, and I'm not sure who. Perhaps you can keep an eye out as you enjoy the rides. See if you can spot anything suspicious. The latest and worst thing is, today Santa somehow got locked in the grotto. We have people working to try get him out, but maybe you can help there too. He's the star guest at the grand opening, and he needs to start his deliveries soon after.
Don't worry. I've broken into countless tombs. I'm sure I can manage Santa's grotto.
Oh, thank you, Lara. You are the best. Good luck, and have fun.
Having chatted to Ms Wanda, we're now free to explore the carnival. But before we set off, there are a couple of things that we need to be aware of. We're able to collect red tokens in order to access the rides, and these are hidden all around the park. We can also access Lara's tablet by pressing tab, and this will first take us to a map of the carnival showing all the rides, as well as the amount of red tokens required to enter each. We also have the level goals there, which include finding as many red tokens as required to access the rides, and also 10 golden tickets. And these 10 golden tickets will allow us to free Santa. As we heard, he has become locked in the grotto. Right away here, I'm just going to collect the first of 5 secrets. There's no bonus for the secrets. Secrets aren't really the focus of this level. But there is, however, a bonus if you find all 60 of the red tokens. And the first of which we can see here. It's hovering just above Lara's head, and we can jump up and grab it. In order to collect a red token, all you have to do is touch it, and it will automatically be added to your counter. You can see the red tokens counter in the top left-hand corner of the screen. And we can also hear tokens, so they emit a jingling sound. There we go, we just claimed another one. And when we get close to a token, you should be able to hear it before you even see it. Tokens are hidden all over the park, but never inside actual rides, as if they were, this could potentially cause a soft lock. The observant among you might notice another jingle, and that's because just behind us, hiding behind a pillar, is another red token. Next, we're going to go and have a chat with another of the characters that we'll meet on our travels, Ms Sweet.
Here, go on, treat yourself to something, love.
It's a bit cold for ice cream, even for me.
Well, make sure you buy from me, not that scoundrel Grinchy Carney Sam.
Sounds like you have a bit of rivalry going on there.
You could say that. I'm sure he's trying to steal and copy my super special popcorn recipe. Up to no good, that one. And don't even get me started on Grinchy Carney Ron. Thick as thieves, them lot. I'm sure one of them was skulking round here a few times. They all wear the same costumes and makeup, so it's hard to tell which one of them it was. Odd, given that they hate the rest of us going to their part of the park. Here, I'll tell you what, maybe you could do me a favour and actually go to Grinchy Carney Sam's stall. Bring me some of his popcorn. I want to check if my recipe was stolen. If you do that for me, I'll give you some ride tokens.
Sure, I can do that. Having chatted to Miss Sweet, we learn that if we do as she asks, she'll give us an extra 5 red tokens. And having spoken to her, the door behind the stall has opened. This gives us access to a new area of the fairground. And this is going to happen a couple of times. When we speak to an NPC, it will open up a new area. But before we go and explore any further, I'm going to get another token and pick up a fire extinguisher that has been dropped behind the Sky's the Limit ride. This is quite well hidden. And we got a shop there showing the burger stall, which we haven't visited yet. So that fire extinguisher might just come in handy. If we want to refer to that map, we can open up the map in the inventory. The one on the display board is only meant as scenery. It's not really meant to be readable. So if you want a readable version, look at the inventory. Now we are going to chat to another NPC, Dean. Any luck?
Hey lady, the name's Dean, and no luck yet.
Well, Dean, it doesn't look like you're trying too hard to get him out.
What do you mean? I'm a professional. I'll have Santa out there in no time.
If you're not using this crowbar, I'll take it. I might find a use for it.
Go ahead, be my guest. Oh, and hey, if we come across all the tickets, we can have him out of there even quicker.
Okay, I'll keep an eye out. So it doesn't seem like Dean has had much luck in freeing Santa. And he reminds us that we need to find all 10 of the golden tickets. However, in the meantime, chatting to him has provided us with a crowbar, and this is going to give us access to one of the rides later on. But in the meantime, let's continue our search for red tokens. There are a whole bunch hidden in this part of the park. This is just a stall rather than a ride, and it's perhaps aptly named the Happy Flower Pot, as it sells a lot of flowers among other things. And here we see another stall, which is actually a ride called Shark Dip. On our right, we're running past Little Venice, and between Little Venice and the gift box, we can find another token on the ground and another token floating in the sky. And this can be reached by running and jumping off that sort of crate thing. Looking up, we'll see the gift box, and we can now go and chat to another NPC. Hi, could I please access the boat ride? I was hoping to go on that.
The elevator jammed again and needs fixing. I'll see if I can take care of that. Meanwhile, can you do something for me? Someone stole a kaleidoscope from my shop. Can you find it for me? It would save me from getting into a bunch of trouble with the management.
Sure, I'll see what I can do. So as we see here, speaking to the shop guy has opened up a pretty large part of the park at the top of the map. We're not going to go there right away though. I'm just opening up the tablet and we can see both of the quests that we've been given. So we need to find some popcorn for Miss Sweet, and we also need to find the kaleidoscope for the guy in the shop. And anytime you can't remember what needs to be done next, the tab is a good reference resource. Looking behind the carousel here, we can find a couple more tokens, including that pretty sneaky one hidden behind a vent, although Lara does look up at it as you run past. And in the burger bar, there are 2 more tokens to find. This one is hovering over a table. And before we claim the next one, we're actually going to use our fire extinguisher. And to do this, all we have to do is approach the grill. And if we hadn't found the fire extinguisher, nothing would have happened here. And we couldn't have picked up that star, because if we had, we'd have ended up with some very burnt feet. And there is no water nearby. As you can see there, I used the giant burger as a ledge. You can in fact climb on top of this and use it to jump up and grab the floating token. Now that I've collected those 2 tokens, I'm going to continue on my way and continue collecting any remaining tokens in this part of the hub, before proceeding to any of the new areas that we opened. Another thing worth noting about the shop guy is that we need to give him the kaleidoscope in order to open up the little Venice ride. If you noticed at the beginning on the map, it says that that ride is out of order, and he just told us that he would fix the elevator for us, as the door is currently jammed. I'm just collecting some more tokens here. These are hidden behind a reach for the stars. If we look up, there is a floating token, and the way that we reach this one is by using the Christmas lights as a swing pole. To grab that, it's a good idea to stand right in the middle of the edge of the box behind and just do a forward standing jump and grab to the pole and swing straight forward and grab the token. Right, I think that's most of the tokens in this area. So we're now going to proceed to the area that we opened up when we spoke to the guy in the shop. I'm just going to grab this one further token from behind the bench, and then we can enter a brand new area. So as we make our way around the park, I'll let you know who built each section of the level. The area we were in previously was the section built by myself, and this new area that we just entered was built by Mario Sponge. And I do think this is a really beautiful area with some very nice details. We'll get this lovely cinematic flyby as we enter the area, and we'll see a few things that are significant. The observant among you may have spotted a key card on one of the roundabout seats. The majority of the park is split into walled-off sections, and there is a very good reason for this. Not only was it much easier to all work on our own individual sections and then piece them all together, but the walls also cut down on lag. Lag can be a big problem for densely populated levels such as this, and I think the walls definitely helped a lot in this situation. As you saw there, I just hopped up and grabbed another secret. Not sure what was going on in that cubbyhole, but we also claimed a shotgun. We need to be careful when we grab the token above this bin. As you may notice, there is a green odour or stench coming from it, and if we touch the bin, we'll actually get poisoned. If that does happen, we can pick up an ice cream from the store behind us. And now it's also time to grab that key card that some of you may have spied earlier. We haven't seen where it goes yet, but we are going to go and place it right away. So we're going to double back on ourselves, run past the giant snowflake decoration, and hop up on top of this crate. And we can now use the jump switch on the wall to open what looks like some kind of security office. The security guard inside doesn't seem too bothered about security duties, I think he is more preoccupied with watching TV. So we can sneak in and grab that token, and also use the security access card on the panel behind. And this is going to open a door in an area that we have yet to visit. So we're going to go and check that out. Through that window we can see the Snakes and Ladders ride, which we have yet to unlock. The way I'm going to do this is I'm going to find all the red tokens, and then I am going to open up the rides after that. So just before I visit that area I mentioned, I am going to just grab these tokens that we can see right in front of us. So we need to grab the edge of that stall there and pull up, and that will let us do a running jump and grab that token. Also, I'm just going to show you another area of note over this side of the park. So there's an area on our left, and if we'd come in through that other door, we'd have got a slightly different flyby. And when Lara approaches this curtain, she looks at it, and she can actually run straight through it. And here we find ourselves inside the theatre, and there'll be some stuff to do here later on, but at the moment we don't have what we need to proceed. So now that we're aware of this area, I am going to leave once again. That's not the only entrance to the theatre, as we'll find out later on. There's also a backstage area. Now we're going to visit the area that we saw when we placed the security key card. Ahead we see Café de Flore, a charming patio cafe area. And if we climb on top of the store, we can claim another red token. And we can also pick up an advent calendar or large med pack on the table behind us. Here we can see 2 doors that we need to open, and in order to do so we need to open this smaller door underneath the stairs. And if we proceed down the stairs, we'll see what the security key card opened. We also get a diary prompt there, which tells us about the hint on the wall. The images you see on the wall relate to the popular Christmas song 12 Days of Christmas, and they tell us the order in which we need to pull the switches. 2 turtle doves, 4 calling birds, a partridge in a pear tree, 3 French hens, and 5 gold rings. And we now, having successfully completed the switches in the right order, get a flyby showing the machine on the ledge next to us activate, and this is then going to open the 2 doors upstairs. It's worth noting that if you do by chance pull the switches in the wrong order, the first switch, which is switch number 2, will always stay depressed. And that is just the way the puzzle seems to be set up. So now we get 2 doors opening, and we can now explore these 2 new areas. There are several items that we need to find in this area, which we'll need in the theatre later on. I'm going to run back up the stairs and investigate those 2 doors that just opened. Both of these doors provide us with half of a puzzle combo item. I'm going to choose to do the left-hand door first, and this is a timed jump puzzle. So we need to pull this switch and backflip to the ledge behind us, and then jump up, grab this switch and pull it, and then jump to the next trapdoor. As soon as we land, we can backflip, and then we will make it in time. Before going any further though, if we turn around, we can claim another star secret. Hello, Santa. Now we can hop back to this ledge, and we'll see a short zip line. Now we don't really need to grab the zip line, we can easily jump, but zip lines are fun. So ride the zip line and then pull the switch at the end. This opens a return door back to the Café de Flore patio area. But we're not going to go back there just yet. First of all, I'm going to hop up and grab some flares, And then we can pay some attention to these arrows. This is a fun slidey puzzle board type area. The arrow indicates the direction in which Lara is going to slide. And if we jump to the end there, as you could see, I grabbed a red token. And the other goal of this is to grab a sparkly shoe. One of 2 sparkly shoes. Shoes generally come in pairs. And in order to find the other shoe, we're going to need to proceed back to the other door that we didn't investigate earlier. We chose the left-hand door, and we're now going to go through the right-hand door. And in this room, we get another puzzle, which is colour-coded on the wall. I'm just going to grab some goodies from this chest first. And then if we turn around, we'll see there's a red token on the other side of the room. Let's look at the colour chart. First, we need to stand on the start tile, and then we need to jump to the gold tile, the blue tile, the green tile, and then finally the red tile. And this sequence will open the door and allow us to claim another sparkly shoe. Now, both of these sparkly shoes are needed inside the theatre. However, we can't access the part of the theatre that we need to reach just yet. For that, we require the backstage key. And in order to get the backstage key, we must first do the Snakes and Ladders ride. But as I mentioned, I am going around collecting all of the red tokens first. So we're going to revisit the theatre at a later point in the level. Now that we've collected all of the red tokens in Sponge's area, we're now going to proceed to a new part of the fair that we haven't yet visited. So through this archway, we now find ourselves in Shadowy's part of the park. And looking up, we can straight away see a red token. There are lots of red tokens hidden in this area. And this area is super chill and lovely. I really like the choice of music here. This really is a super relaxing part of the park to explore. In addition to the red tokens, we can also grab some arrows from on top of that pillar. And if we hop over here, there is another red token next to the big spooky clown face. Now the door under the clown is shut, but that is actually a ride, and that is going to open up much later on. That is in fact the Haunted Hall of Mirrors, but we won't see that until we've completed all the other rides. Opening that door, we now find ourselves running into a cafeteria, and we can claim another red token from between the 2 vending machines. And this door leads to the 2 bathrooms. There are a couple of red tokens hidden in this area, so run in and grab the first one. We're just going to check out the cubicles, although there is nothing else in this particular bathroom. Just open the other door. Nothing to see here. So let's check out the other bathroom. At least Lara knows where to return if she's caught short during this adventure. So open up this door and we'll find a red token inside this cubicle, and that is all there is to claim in the bathroom area. We can now leave and re-enter the cafe. On our right there, we'll see a red curtain. Now that is in fact a door, and that is going to open up later on. On our right, we'll see an Easter egg, which is a cosplay poster featuring Saki Croft as Lara. We'll soon see the reasoning behind the presence of this poster. But first, I'm going to claim a few more red tokens. There are loads hidden in this area. Next, I'm going to hop up on this snow pile, and this is going to let me access some arrows hidden inside some shootable crates, as well as another red token on this slope. So let's proceed into the next walled section. Proceeding past Mr. Snowman on our right, we'll be able to hear the jingle of more red tokens, and there's a sneaky one hidden behind the vending machine. After grabbing that, we can proceed further. On our left is a sign, more to see this way, and that indicates the way out of this section. There's only one way in or out of this area. On our right, Lara's attention is grabbed by a stall. This is in fact Forest Archery, which is one of the rides that we'll need to pay to enter. And that kiosk serves as the place that we need to pay once we have all the red tokens. We technically have enough, but like I keep saying, I am going to find all of the red tokens before accessing any of the rides. Hop up on this snow pile and we can claim another red token. And there are a couple remaining in this area still. We can see one hovering above Forest Archery. But we're going to get more than we bargained for when we climb up to get it.
Get your crusty feet down from my stall.
It turns out that the stall owner is not best pleased with us for climbing on her roof. But we can run around and try again, and she won't shout at us a second time. We could also climb on the very edge of the dice next to the stall in order to avoid being shouted at. So I said we'd see the reason for the cosplay poster, and as we look around this area we may notice that there are a couple of stall holders which look suspiciously familiar and rather like Lara, and I put the cosplay posters there because I thought it would be a fun explanation for some of the figures resembling Lara. So let's hop up onto this section of the wall and we can claim another very sneaky red token. As we slide down the slope, we'll see the entrance to Forest Archery there on our left. But we're not going to go there now, we are going to continue our red token hunt and we'll just note the location of that for later. In the meantime, we are done finding red tokens in this area. We now have all of them. So we're going to continue onwards to the last area in which we have yet to find red tokens. So we're going to run back past Santa's grotto and proceed to the gate that opened when we spoke to Miss Sweet right back at the start of the level. This leads to Jesus Seacroft's area, labelled on the map as Grinchy Gardens. But before we can open Grinchy Gardens, we can find one more token behind the pillar, and we need to enter another area which is marked on the map as the disco tent. Now this section was constructed by Shabobab, and we need to do this in order to find the key to unlock Grinchy Gardens. As we drop down into this section, we'll be greeted with a mixture of vibrance and also a little spookiness thrown in. The water in front of us is deadly, so try and avoid landing on that. Before proceeding, I'm going to check the PDA. We got a clue when we came in here, which pointed us towards these tiles, which feature a green tick. And we need to step on each of the tiles with the green tick and not touch any other tiles. And this will enable us to open the door on the far side of the room. And we'll pass through a spooky clown mouth archway. There are quite a few of these here. Looking up, we'll see that that clown has a jump switch on its nose. There is another switch that we need to access later because we need to raise a block under it. And in this hallway, we'll see some more sunken tiles, all with ticks on them. And we need to safely traverse each of these tiles without touching any other tiles. And this will then in turn open the doors at the end of this section. We can see here, we've opened one of the doors, and that's the second one. So be careful not to touch any other tiles, and both of the doors will remain open. We can now use this lever switch, and this lowers a block on top of one of the pillars in this room. So we can now use a slope on the wall to reach the top of one of these pillars. And with the block lowered, we can now traverse the pillars and reach a jump switch at the end of this section. Just a note for anyone struggling with those tiles on the floor, it can be very useful to use the half tile run and jump there, or the walk run and jump, which basically involves walking forward and then jumping halfway across a tile, and that way you don't touch the tile next to the tile you're running on. That can be a useful maneuver for puzzles such as this. So now we can push the button under the grates, and we can now access another block which will enable us to reach the switch on the clown's nose. I love that, it's fun. Right on the nose. We've got the switch and we've opened a door on this side of the room. Proceeding inside, we see that some very suspicious looking characters are all watching us. Now Miss Sweet mentioned the Grinchy Gardens characters earlier on. She seemed very suspicious of them, and I can see why. They are hanging out here and spying on us, it seems. Next we have a jump puzzle. You can either do it the way I just did it, or another way you can get across is by jumping to the ledge just above Lara's head. Not the one directly in front, but the one just behind that. From there you can do a jump and turn in mid-air and progress that way. Ahead we see our prize. This is the key to the Grinchy Gardens, and once we pick that up, the exit door will open, allowing us to leave. As we leave, we can appreciate the very spooky exit there, entrance and exit, through the clown's mouth. So now that we've exited the disco tent, we can now use the Grinchy Garden key and enter another whole new area. We've now arrived in the beautiful Grinchy Gardens. This area has its own unique charm. Superficially it seems very chill, but there's something a little more sinister lurking beneath the surface, which we'll soon discover. There are also a host of red tokens to collect in this area, but before we do, we're going to talk to another NPC.
Welcome, visitor. For red tokens, you have the chance to test your honesty. But beware, if you lie, you might regret your choice. Well, got the red tokens, then use the tile to my right, or keep looking around until you find what I request.
All right. So as we're informed by Grinchy Carnival, we need to collect the right amount of tokens and then step on the flashing tile, and that will open the ride behind him. As I keep saying though, we're not going to do that quite yet. We still have a couple more tokens to find before we start entering rides. So I'm going to continue exploring this area. Lots more tokens in there. And next we're going to talk to this character.
My crystal cover! Now you'll have to pay me a new one, visitor.
Don't blame me. You put that token on display. You're practically asking for trouble.
It's my machine, and I do as I please. It gives a special flavor.
Fine. Once I'm done here, a generous check will be issued to you. Happy now?
Okay. I'll take your word, visitor. You better not troll me.
Oh really? Lara's such a vandal. So if you shoot the guy's crystal cover, you can collect a token, but this one's a yellow token. I'll need something to buy the popcorn. Remember our task for Miss Sweet? She said we needed to get her some popcorn, and the yellow token can be used to purchase the popcorn.
Sweet Super Duper popcorn ready. Enjoy, visitor.
Oh no, not another super duper thing. But thanks anyway. So, a popcorn in hand, we can now proceed to collect the rest of the tokens. For this token ahead, we need to use the slope and jump off it, and that will give us the height we need in order to claim the floating token. There's one more token here, and also a slightly hidden switch. If we pull that switch, it will open the door, and here we'll find ourselves back right at the start of the level, where we claimed the very first secret at the very beginning of the level, just after talking to Ms Wanda. Running back through the Grinchy Garden, we saw some other tokens earlier by the fountain, but we want to be very careful in this section, as there's a nasty surprise waiting for us. Yikes, what was that? The first time I played this, that gave me quite the fright, I can tell you. There's another switch on the wall by this fountain, and if we pull that, it's going to open up another shortcut for us, which leads back to the initial area. And this just serves as a quick way to traverse between the different sections. I'll just show you where it leads. If we swing through, we can pull out, and this leads back to the area with the vending machine, where we found a red token very early on. And here we see the Reach for the Stars ride. But I'm not going to go this way quite yet. We still have more tokens to find back in the Grinchy Garden. So I'm going to swim back through the fountain. As we pull out of the water, we'll see some boxes opposite. And these are going to be very useful in order to reach some of the final red tokens. So we can hop up on top of these boxes, and this will allow us access to the top of the hedges, and we can run across the trellis and find another token. And from here we get a great view of the entire Grinchy Garden, and we can see several floating tokens that we need to claim. So run around the edge of the Wacky Garlic Breath ride, and we'll find another red token hidden at the very edge of the map. Once we've claimed this, we can run back. I love all these floodlights, they give such a pretty effect. And now we can run jump back across here, and let's claim the floating token in the middle of the fountain pillar, and then pull up back onto the trellis. The eagle-eyed among you may see another token off in the distance, so we're going to go ahead and grab that. We only have a couple left to find. So grab that, being very careful to avoid the barbed wire. If we touch that, we will be injured a little. So we can see into the Naughty or Nice ride, but we can't get in there yet. We do have to open it up. There is an invisible wall that prevents us from entering it from above. So run back along the trellis, and we're going to make a safe descent back to the top of the box, and that will prevent us from taking any fall damage, and try not to land in that fountain with the crocodiles. And we can come back to this side of the room and pick up some flares. Some more boxes. There's nothing under those though. We now want to enter the foyer of the Wacky Garlic Breath ride, as there are 2 further tokens to be found here. So pick up an ice cream, and we now want to hop on top of these boxes and pull up. You may need to crouch in order to get underneath this support beam. it doesn't want me claiming the penultimate red token. There we go, we got it. You can always shimmy around the edge of the block if you're having trouble with that beam. So running down here, we will have another chat with another NPC, Grinchy Ron.
So you want to conquer the breath, visitor? 6 red tokens and you're in. Use the tile to my right for that. If not, then go away. There might be something more interesting to do elsewhere.
Easy, man. What a temper. What a grump. What a bad-tempered character. Above Grinchy Ron's ticket stall, we can see another red token. So we can jump up and grab that. Is that popcorn I see behind his stall? That's a little sus, don't you think? So we now have all of the tokens that are available to claim on the map. But you say we only have 55. Where are the remaining 5? Weren't there 60 to find? Well, you'd be correct. But the final 5 are not on the map, so to speak. We actually need to return the popcorn to Miss Sweet. She gave us a quest to bring her some of Grinchy Sam's popcorn. And as a reward, we get 5 tokens. While we've been away, Miss Sweet has moved to the front of her stall. So let's go and say hi.
Cheers, love. Here are the tokens. Now, to see if he nicked my recipe. Yep, definitely my recipe. Those scoundrels. Which one of them nicked it? That's what I'd like to know.
I'll be sure to keep an eye out. With the final 5 red tokens in hand, we'll now have a total of 60. And with that, we'll get a camera showing the curtain back in the cafe opening up. That was back in Shadowy's area. Remember I showed you the red curtain back in the cafeteria? Well, that is what opened. So as one final thing to do before we start accessing all the rides, I am going to go and revisit that area and we'll see what the secret bonus holds in store. The inclusion of a secret bonus area was a slightly later addition, but I thought it would be a good idea to include several spare tokens, so anyone who's struggling to find red tokens will be able to access all the rides with 5 left to find. And this also gives an additional incentive to find all. So if anyone is a secret hunter, then hopefully the challenge of finding all tokens will yield a small reward. So come into this area and we can now access the bonus gallery. Now this costs 5 red tokens, but don't worry, we only need 55 for the rides. So we're all good here. And if we walk on inside, we are going to see a gallery. And this is a little Easter egg and nod to all the team levels of Christmases past. So if we proceed around the room in order, we'll see the very first team level that I'm aware of, which is Nepal. This one had a really big team of builders working on it. A personal favourite of mine, Team Christmas Another Home. And then we have Lara's Magical Christmas Adventures. Another favourite, which is Another Town. And Another Present. This one was a really nice manor level. And then we have Team Christmas Another Spell. This one was set in an Oxford college, very spooky. another winter forest, which is the first one I ever worked on. On this table we can pick up a bonus item, which is a Christmas card, and it's not used for anything, it's just a nice little greeting from the builders. Just to wish you all a very Merry Christmas. Next we have a Christmas in Seville, followed by another winter city. And then we have another Christmas castle, or another winter castle, followed by a very familiar scene, another Christmas carnival. We're now right up to date. I thought that would be a nice little tribute there to all the team Christmas levels of Christmases past. And who knows, it may even give some of you some ideas for other really cool levels that you could check out. I would definitely recommend all of them. They are a really cool bunch of levels, worked on by some amazing teams. So, we are now halfway through this game. We have collected all of the red tokens. What now remains is to spend them all and access all the rides. And seeing as we are here, we're going to do forest archery first. As we pay, you'll see a laser sight pop up, and we also get shown the gate to forest archery has opened.
Here's your crossbow. Don't shoot anyone with it. I'll probably get arrested again.
I don't even want to know what happened the first time she gave a crossbow to someone. Or maybe. You're right, Lara. I'm not sure I do want to know. Now that we have our crossbow, we can proceed to the entrance to forest archery. As we run through the gate, a target counter will pop up on the screen, and this shows us how many targets we have yet to find. So let's combine the laser sight with the crossbow, and we can now find and shoot the 5 targets. If you had a problem like I did there, make sure you're not shooting the target through any leaves, because sometimes the trees will have collision on them. So now let's run around through this cute forest area and shoot all of the targets. Also, should you at any point find yourself running out of arrows, the arrow pickup right inside the gate is actually a respawning pickup. So if you reach 0 crossbow ammo, that pickup right opposite the gate will respawn with fresh crossbow ammo, just to prevent a potential softlock, although there are a lot of arrows, so you would have to miss a lot of times. Run over to the pedestal and we'll see that a golden ticket has spawned. So that is the first of 10. Pick it up and we can now proceed to leave this area. For now, we have done everything that we can do in this section. We will be back here right at the end of the game to enter the Haunted Hall of Mirrors, but we have a few rides to enjoy before that happens. The majority of the rides can be undertaken in any order, apart from the Haunted Hall of Mirrors and apart from Little Venice. Consequently, the next ride I'm going to choose is Snakes and Ladders, and the reason for this is because we're going to get an item from completing this ride, which will allow us to access Little Venice. Do you remember back when the shop guy spoke to us? He asked us if we could find his kaleidoscope. So that is the reason I am picking Snakes and Ladders next. So hop on inside this ride and we'll see lots of snaky slopes and ladders to climb. I love the aesthetic of this ride. I think it's so cool. It's repurposed some of the very classic Tomb Raider textures and turned them into a super fun ride aesthetic. Throughout this ride we need to find 5 hidden switches, and in order to do so we'll have to climb some ladders and slide down some snakes. At the top of this blue snake there is a chest, and that alcove is surprisingly difficult to squeeze into. But as you saw there, if you do a running jump, you can angle yourself and squeeze through that gap. It is quite a tricky jump though, all for a large med pack reward. Next we can hop up onto this red ledge, and here we have another fairly tricky jump. We need to slide down the slope just a little bit and then hop and grab the monkey bars. If you jump too soon, you'll miss, and if you jump too late, you'll overshoot and potentially fall to your death. So time the jump just right. Drop off the monkey bars and we can push the first of 3 buttons that we need to find. And we'll get a camera showing us the block in the floor that will lower once we've found all 3. I just want to take a moment to appreciate the music in this area as well. It's a really long loop with some nice Christmassy tracks, and I really love it. I think it gives this area a great feel. So run underneath this blue snake and we'll find the final switch. There we'll see the block lowering, and we can now investigate what was beneath it. Aha! A key. Looks like I don't get a ticket here, but this key will come in handy. Maybe I'll get another ticket elsewhere. So Lara will explain that we don't get a golden ticket from this ride, but that maybe she'll get one from somewhere nearby. This is just to avoid any confusion. A shadowy figure. Who is that? Look! He dropped a kaleidoscope. I should take this back to the guy in the shop. Ooh, spooky. A shadowy figure dropped a kaleidoscope. So let's run over and pick it up, and we can now return the kaleidoscope back to the guy in the shop. And he will open Little Venice for us, having repaired the door to the elevator. I wonder who that shadowy figure was. Maybe we'll find out later on. And for anyone who's not aware, and that's probably most people, the shadowy figure reference is an Easter egg from the Barbie detective game that I mentioned earlier. Here, I found your kaleidoscope.
Ah, you have it. Thank you. That saved me from getting into a bunch of trouble. Then again, Ms Wanda would be much nicer about it than Grinchy Gardens would have.
Oh? Trouble? He used to be in charge?
Yes, he used to run the whole fair, but his mismanagement nearly drove us to bankruptcy. Ms Wanda was called in to take over, and was able to turn things around. She saved the carnival, and all of our jobs.
How interesting.
Anyhow, the elevator is fixed. Enjoy the ride.
I'm sure I will. Thanks. I wonder if Grinchy Carnival is the one who dropped the kaleidoscope. It was hard to tell from that distance. I'll need more evidence. Having safely returned the kaleidoscope to its rightful place, we have now earned a reward of a fixed elevator, as you can see here in the tablet menu. But we're not going to go on that ride next. I'm choosing to do the rides in Grinchy Gardens next. Like I said, it doesn't matter which order you do the rides in, but you do need to do Snakes and Ladders before you can get to Little Venice. That's the only condition, aside from the Hall of Mirrors being the last ride. So let's return to Grinchy Gardens. I want to do both of these rides so that we can tick this area off our list. And I've just activated the door opening command. These rides work a little differently than some of the others.
My, Stefan. Welcome the visitor. He wants a prize.
Oh no, but I forgot to feed the babies, Stefan.
Zip it, you moron.
I'm not sure I trust these guys. Let's see. You'll be okay. It can't be this easy, right? I would recommend saving here, as some of the outcomes to this ride can be pretty deadly, especially if you want to try all three options. The correct option is the middle one, and you get a little message there saying a wise person would leave. But we have to see what might happen if we try out the incorrect rides. So I'm going to save again, and I'll just demonstrate what happens if we try using either of the other two switches. It's a game of chance. Ouch! That looked painful. Time to reload. I think that's enough of a demonstration, you get the idea. Don't pick the wrong one. If you do, it ends badly. Right, now we are going to check out the Wacky Garlic Breath. And we spoke to a Grinchy Ron before, so we're going to go and head back to him. I don't suppose he'll be in a better mood when we return, but thankfully we don't actually have to talk to him this time. We can just activate the door opening command and head on inside. As we enter, the door will ominously shut behind us, and we'll be locked in until we reach our goal of finding a golden ticket. So let's go ahead and talk to these characters. But before we do, I'm just going to shoot the box to my left and grab a large med pack. We may need it in here.
Sorry for the stenchy old visitor. We've eaten garlic today.
Oh yes, we did.
Yuck! Quick, before I die. You're excused. Right, let's come over here and pull up on top of these crates, and we can grab an ice cream. I'm not sure I'd want to eat anything from in here. Drop down and pick up some flares from this cubby hole, and then we can see what lies in store for us in this ride. The atmosphere in here is very ominous. What am I supposed to do here? There seem to be some crazy people enjoying this mess. Look at them. As we enter the main part of the ride, we're greeted by a lot of cackling Grinchy carnies who are mocking us. They obviously don't think we can make it across this devious trap, but they can think again. I have to say, the spooky atmosphere in here is very well crafted, and it certainly puts one on edge when you're traversing this section. So if we time ourselves carefully, we can jump past the crocodile spike trap. A very creative use of a spike trap, I have to add. And now we can jump across and dodge the flame, and we can pass the last crocodile. At least I think it's a crocodile. Some kind of monster anyway. We can see there to our right there is a star, but before we grab that, we're going to climb on top of these fans. I'm a big fan of this. And now we can pull the lever that we saw in the opening cutscene, and this is going to raise a block on the other side of the room. The bad news is we're going to have to go back through the traps to get to it, but you probably guessed that already, right? So now we're just going to jump to the ledge with the star. It's quite reasonably straightforward to jump to it, but getting back is slightly more tricky with the angled walls, so be careful. And I usually jump to this platform. I find it a bit easier than trying to angle around the pillar. So now we can pass the crocodiles again They're very hungry. Haven't they had enough garlic to eat yet? So now we can jump to this platform and time ourselves past this one. Now for the tricky one, we want to probably save before attempting this. And jump and... Yep, I got it. Hop over. I just want to point something out here, something really cool and creepy and clever. If you look at the clowns, you may notice their eyes moving. The one opposite doesn't, but the ones all along the walls are watching us. As we pull up here, we'll get a better view of the creepy eyes. And as we look up the room, we can see all of them are looking in our direction. Ooh, spooky. I've never seen anything like that done before. And I have to say it's really clever, if not quite unnerving. As we climb up here, we'll see a yellow glow, and that is in fact the golden ticket for this area that we need to claim. But no gain without pain. We have a few traps to dodge before we can get to that point. So run along here and dodge the swinging angry clown heads and the steam, and we'll get to a seemingly dead end or impasse. There are a load of Grinchy Carnies dancing around on the fans, and if we pull up on the fans, we will die. But as you can see here, I can actually grab the edge and shimmy around them. And I have to do it on this side because there is a barrier there on the other side. So continue to shimmy safely around the edge of the block without pulling up on the fan. And we find ourselves on the opposite ledge. And now we have a few more angry clown heads and puffs of steam to dodge. Lara is not a fan of this. Whoa, that was close. That was the most tricky bit to dodge there. And from this side we can hop behind the top of the clown head and run along and grab the golden ticket. I think we've earned our reward after all those traps. We see the exit door reopening, and we've also had a block raise which will allow us to descend safely without breaking our neck in this room. So drop down the blocks and we can now safely depart through the mouth of the clown, leaving behind all of the creepy clowns that were watching us. See you later, fellas. So let's run out of this area, and we are now done with the Grinchy Gardens section of the park. That was very cool and creepy, but time for something a little more chill, I think. Although after dealing with these snappy crocodiles, I think I am going to go and attempt Shark Dip. This ride is located on the opposite corner of the main hub area, and the ride itself was constructed by Shabobab. It's a really clever design which really does mimic a real-life carnival game, as we'll see when we get there. So hop over the giant shark, and if we pull this chain, we'll be teleported into a separate area where we can undertake the actual ride. We'll arrive in a nicely water-themed area, along with lots of little sharks swimming in the ponds to our right and left. So let's go and pay to start the ride. Deposit our red tokens in the coin slot, and we're ready to dip. So climb up onto the counter, and this button is used to control the rides. So we'll need to watch the shark as it moves along these rows, and I generally find it's good to press the button ready to dip the shark when the shark reaches the tile before the one where you want it to dive. You need to take into account the button pushing animation delay. After a couple of attempts, one starts to get the hang of it, and it's a really clever concept. As you can see, I aimed the shark for the black circle on the end of the row, and having successfully hit that spot, the shark has now jumped to the next row. And basically we need to navigate the shark to the black circle closest to Lara. And in order to do that, we need to successfully aim it at the correct tile on each row. But beware, I did say correct tile. If you happen to hit the black circle that you emerged from when you arrived on the row, you will send the shark back to the previous row. So it's possible to go both ways. This next row coming up is very tricky because both the black circles are right next to each other. It's very easy to go through the wrong one, so we need to time it very carefully. So I'm going to wait until the shark moves off, and we're going to send it in the other direction and then wait and press it now. That's a lot safer than pressing it from the other angle. Hey, we did it! The shark has arrived. Nice! That's a lot of teeth. Smile! Having successfully won the game, the shark will spit out a golden ticket. And we can crouch to pick it up from under his nose. I wouldn't fancy standing there even though he's not a real shark. Okay, game done. Ooh, and if we check out this water, we'll see another shark swimming in that pool, as well as the teeny tiny sharks swimming in this one. Right, time to leave. Let's move on to the next game. Having teleported back from Shark Dip, it's now time to move on to the next ride. And for the next one, I think I'm going to do Egyptian Adventure. In order to enter this ride, we need the crowbar that we picked up from Santa's grotto, the one that Dean wasn't using. So pry open the door and we can run on inside and use the token. I've always been very fond of the Egyptian Adventure assets from Tomb Raider 4, and I thought it was a really fun thing to be able to use them in a fairground ride. Once we pull the chain, we are teleported into the ride or experience. And now we can run around. We're given a message there to tell us that any weapon can be used to shoot the mummies, so we can easily kill them with our pistols. As you can see here, the crowbar is also coming in handy for prying off a beetle from the wall, and we're going to need to find 4 of these. I also just shot a target through a gap, and that has lowered one of 2 blocks, which is going to allow us to reach the next section of the ride. Coming around the corner here, I'm shooting another mummy, and oh dear, it seems a fellow adventurer was not so fortunate in this ride, but we can claim Indy's shotgun, and this may just come in handy for dispatching mummies. We can also pry another beetle off the wall, and now proceed on to the next thing. There's another mummy and another target to shoot. Now one can easily shoot these targets with pistols, but you can also use the shotgun if you want a little more targeting accuracy, and if you chose to do the archery ride first, you could even use the laser sight, but it is not a requirement of this ride. You can easily shoot the targets with pistols. Shooting another target, and we have lowered another block. This is going to allow us to proceed. This ride is a bit of a maze, but it's not such a huge one that you get hopelessly lost, and there are some landmarks to aid navigation. Mummy ambush. I'm going to use my shotgun. There we go. That shotgun made short work of Mummy. So Lara is looking upwards, and this is just to draw our attention to the fact that this wall is climbable. So we're going to scale this ladder to the second floor, as there is more to explore upstairs. In case you haven't gathered already, this is one of my rides, and I made all of the rides in the Central Hub section, apart from Shark Dip, which was made by Shabobab. I did think Egypt would be a fun Tomb Raider theme for a game, especially given that it's a popular destination for the classic Tomb Raider games. We could have also climbed around the corner there, but I find it quicker to just slide down the slope and shimmy around. That's my preferred way of doing things, but you can do either. Here we have some monkey bars on the ceiling, and we can shimmy our way past the Egyptian adventure sign. Beyond this monkey swing, we're entering a new section of the ride, so we can drop off, and I'm going to switch to my pistols and shoot another target. This lowers a block in another room. It's the room we can see through this gap, only we can't reach it yet, at least not from this side. So I just picked up some more shotgun ammo there. We can also see into that room through the crack we just passed on the right. And having shot the mummy, we can now run around and enter this area that was freed up with the lowering block. And inside we find another beetle. As I said, there are 4 of these beetles to find, so only 1 left. We're almost done with this ride. So running back to the area that we came from, we can see into what is the final room, but we're going to have to open that up. So we can jump across the pit. It looks like a long jump, but you can make it. It's 3 blocks wide. We can shoot another mummy. And proceeding down this hallway, there's a target to shoot on our right, and this is what opens up the pyramid room, and we can actually see into that pyramid room through the gap that we shot the target through. We've now claimed the final beetle, and it's time to go and place all 4 of them. So back across the pit, be careful not to fall in. If we do, there is a blue mat texture at the bottom to soften our landing, so to speak, at least metaphorically. And now we can run into this room, and we have a bit of a battle before we place the beetles. But with the shotgun, as you can see, we can make pretty short work of those mummies. So let's place each of the 4 beetles into their respective slots. And we're not going to get anything happen until we've placed all 4 of the beetles, even though we can access the middle of the pyramid after placing just 1. Our reward will appear once we have placed the final beetle. And this is going to be another golden ticket. So run into the middle of the pyramid and claim your prize. We'll now emerge back in the entry area, and a mummy jumps out of the sarcophagus, and it may give you a bit of a fright. I always loved that object from Egyptian Adventure. I had to use it there. Next, I'm going to do one of my personal favourite rides, which is Reach for the Stars. I was so chuffed with the idea for this ride, and the fact that I think I managed to pull it off pretty well. So we can run around to where we first spoke to Ms Wanda at the beginning of the level, and here we'll find the imposing structure of Reach for the Stars. Let's pay our red tokens and see what the ride has in store. As we enter the ride, we'll be catapulted upwards and teleported onto a huge golden slide. I'm just going to show you what happens if you don't jump when you need to jump. Splat. So try not to fall in the holes. And we will need to jump when we reach the end of the slide. So I'm just going to start that again. So the premise here, as the message on screen says, is to follow the rockets. So go in the direction that the rockets are flying. They will guide us to the correct turn. And if we take a wrong turn, we'll simply be teleported back to the start of the slide and have to do things again. So I'm just jumping each time and following the direction of the rockets. So this was my answer to creating a helter-skelter ride in a Tomb Raider level, and I'm super pleased with how it turned out. So we needed to jump on that switch there, that raised the trapdoor and allowed us to progress. Had we not jumped on the switch, we would have fallen down another splat hole. So as the signs on the wall warn us, we need to wait here for the fire to go out. And that's why the pole is there. It provides us with a waiting point. And it's better to not swing because then you can see the fire and see when it goes out fairly easily. So I am jumping in the direction of the rockets, and we are just about done. This ride does not last very long if you take all the correct turns, but I do love it. I am so chuffed with how this turned out. As we reach the end of the slide, we'll be greeted with a creepy cutscene sequence. A shadowy figure. Who is that? I can't tell from here. He's too far away. Looks like he dropped a ticket though. Aha. So it seems we've once again been visited by the suspicious Grinchy Carney, whoever they are, or the Carnival Caper. No. Again, the shadowy figure is what the bad guy in the Barbie Detective and the Mystery of the Carnival Caper was referred to. So I keep dropping in that little Easter egg there. And you'd catch glimpses of the person, and then by the end you'd discover who it was. So I thought that would be a fun thing to recreate here, adding an air of mystery to the game. I was just checking there to see how many tickets I had accumulated, and I decided to next visit the backstage area. So we've returned to Mario Sponge's section of the map, and we are now going to finally make use of those two sparkly shoes that we found. And remember the theatre that we visited earlier? Well, we're now returning here in order to solve a few more puzzles, aided by the sparkly shoes. So we can run through this curtain and we find ourselves in the backstage area, which is now visible from the theatre itself as the curtain has raised. We need to combine the two sparkly shoes and place them on this pedestal in a pride of place. And the door upstairs opens. We can now climb up the ladder and backflip off it. And we can then visit that door that opened, which was upstairs, and we were just looking at it a moment ago. So backflip off the ladder and we can now make our way over to this door. And we're greeted with a camera hint showing the guy on the stage. And this is going to be very significant for the upcoming puzzle. We can also find a reminder of that in the tablet. So if we look up at the colour-coded clues, we need to basically replicate the colours on the star on the stage for this large star that we see in the dressing room. And basically for the first one we need to press the two right hand colours, and the only unbroken tile we leave unpressed on that side is the red one. And coming to this side we need to press the red tile and the blue tile, and that is going to reproduce the colours that we need in order to open this door. And we now have our hands on the music book, and you may be wondering what's that for? Well, we're going to find out. We were just talking about the guy on the stage, and he needs some music in order to be able to sing a song. So let's pop back downstairs and we can go and make use of the newfound music book on the piano. And Lara is going to show off her many skills, which do include playing the piano apparently.
I don't want a lot for Christmas. There's just one thing I need. presents underneath the Christmas tree. I just want you for my own, more than you could ever know. Make my wish come true, 'cause baby, all I want for Christmas is you.
So as the camera panned around the audience, we saw a cute kitty cat that dropped a ticket. And just in case anybody missed that, I also included a hint in the tablet. So we can go and grab that very important ticket, and we can now leave this area because we are done here. We have completed everything in the theatre. So we can run back out through the curtain and return to the central hub. Just 3 more rides remaining, and next I think I'm going to tackle Little Venice. TR2 Venice is a firm fan favourite, and I thought it would be great fun to create a boat ride themed around Venice. Also slightly inspired by the Tunnel of Love, a boat ride in Barbie and the Mystery of the Carnival caper. Just as Reach for the Stars was inspired by the Helter Skelter ride of that game. As we can see there, the shop guy kindly repaired the elevator for us, and we can now descend into the Little Venice ride. Time to break some gondolas. Lara's going to have a smashing time here, quite literally. So the aim of this ride is to drive the boat around and break all of the gondolas. People seem to really enjoy breaking lots of windows in my levels, so I thought it would be real fun to have Lara go around and break a load of things. Very satisfying. We also have these floating hearts, and if you park Lara over one of those, it will regen her health. As you can see, it's very easy to take damage in here, so I thought that would be a good way of regenning and not burning through all of your med packs. I also want to mention there that there are some triggers that the boat can activate. Those swirly columns of stars are actually triggers, and you can use those to open up timed doors leading to new sections of the boat race track. So if we drive back to this one, I'm going to reverse onto it. We then see the light at the side of the door turning green to indicate that the door is open. And if we're snappy, we can drive the boat inside. Another ramp to traverse, and we can smash another gondola. And we can then exit at the other end. I had lots of fun decorating this ride with lots of pretty lights and little Venice elements. Okay, as you saw there, we got a round 2 flag up on the screen, and this now means that new gondolas have appeared. So if we cleared all the gondolas the first time, there are going to be brand new ones to break, and any that you missed the first time will still be present. We have to break a total of 25 in order to complete the ride. The speedboat has always been one of my favourite vehicles from classic Tomb Raider, and it was a joy to include it in a game here. I did have another idea which involved creating a dodgem car using some kind of quad bike or motorbike, but alas I ran out of time and space on the map for such a ride. This map actually ran out of movable object slots, which is partly why the finale actually has a load screen and is technically a separate level, even though it isn't really. There we have it. We found all the gondolas and we can now leave the ride. Before we leave, I'm just going to show another Easter egg. As you can see there, I have a screenshot taken from actual Venice from Tomb Raider 2, so it looks as though you are peering through into that classic, well-known and loved area of Venice. I thought that was a fun inclusion. Right, When we smashed the final gondola, we got a camera showing us a door opening up here. And this allows us to claim another golden ticket. So let's go ahead and claim our prize. Now we can leave. I have a feeling someone is watching us. Another shadowy figure lurking cutscene, and we still didn't work out who it was. Once again, we have the music and the reference there from the Barbie Detective and the Mystery of the Carnival Caper game. Right, time to attempt the penultimate ride. And I think this might just be my favourite ride in the carnival. I had so much fun with this. And hopefully you might see why once we enter. So let's pay our remaining tokens, and we are once again teleported. And this mechanic is so much fun in my opinion. Lara gets to fly. It's a floating islands game with a twist. Nearly all of these platforms are bounce pads, and we have to navigate between them. You can control Lara by pressing right and left as you are sailing into the air, and it does allow you to angle her quite a bit. This sequence is probably the toughest part, so it's probably a good idea to save before attempting this. This is by far the longest continuous bouncing section. And there we go, we safely made it to the next platform. I thought it was so much fun to make a ride based around these bounce pads. I've always loved bounce pads in Tomb Raider. They're a lot of fun, sometimes very unexpected, but a lot of fun. And it's great to have the feeling of Lara actually sailing through the air. This has been quite the climb, but we're almost at the top. That platform on the right is the highest. And I really did utilise almost the full height of a Tomb Raider map here. And here we can bounce on the final jump pad and grab our golden ticket. A worthy prize for completing the ride. It's a long way down there. In fact, we're not even appreciating the full height of this room from that angle. Having collected 9 of the 10 golden tickets, we're now greeted with a camera view showing that the Haunted Hall of Mirrors has now opened. The 10th ticket must be inside. We're also given a warning there that we can no longer collect secrets or red tokens once we enter the Haunted Hall of Mirrors. As I mentioned earlier, because of the movable object limit, I unfortunately had to split the final ride into a new level. Although some of the map is technically the same and it is the same level, I had to split because of that limit. So there are 2 copies of the same main hub. We should also note that we can't go to the bonus area after entering this section. So if we have yet to spend the last 5 tokens, now would be a good time before entering the Hall of Mirrors. Speaking of which, we have now entered the Haunted Hall of Mirrors. Once again, this music is from the Barbie Detective game. That also had a spooky section which featured this music. And we see there on screen 10 ghosts to complete this spooky experience. And we can see one of the ghosts there on the left. All we have to do is touch a ghost and it will explode and vanish, and this will register as a ghost found. So you can see there I ran around the corner and used a switch, and this is going to rotate some of the glass panels or mirrors in this area. And this is going to allow us to access another switch. And if you're thinking at this late stage in the game, oh no, not a switch puzzle, fear not, there are only 3 switches and it's not super difficult. What we do need to do though is come back to the first switch that we pulled, as this is going to allow us to proceed further down the hallway. And we can see another of the ghosts there on our right. We can't get to that one yet though. But there we have it, that is the first of the ghosts found. So let's proceed along this section and we can pull one more switch. After this switch we are done with switches. We don't have to pull any more as everything that we need to open is open. So I just claimed another ghost there and we can now enter a new section that was opened up by rotating the panels. And here at the end of this hallway there's a ghost, but there's also a room to explore. The ominous laugh as we enter may suggest that something is amiss in this room. And we get a clue here, telling us to pay close attention to the mirror. So we're going to grab the ghost, and before we hastily open any of the chests, it's worth paying close attention to the mirror. This gives us a hint. One of the chests is glowing, and this means that this one chest is safe to open. So I'm going to open this and grab a key, and that is going to allow us to exit this room safely. Haunted room escape key. There we go. Now we will open up the exit. And if you want to know what would have happened if I opened one of the other chests, well, it basically would have exploded in Lara's face, and we'd have had a mocking laugh playing while that happened. So don't do that. Not unless you save first, at least. I should be careful here. This monkey swing looks timed. So Lara warns us that this monkey swing looks timed. And basically what happens here is the monkey swing is yellow and safe to cross while the clocks are ticking. And when the clocks stop, it flips to blue and it no longer is safe to use. Lara basically falls off it. She will no longer grab it. So what we want to do is wait for it to go blue, and then as soon as it turns yellow again, it's safe to hop up. And we'll have just enough time to traverse these monkey bars. And if we fall off at any point, well, that's going to be pretty bad for us too. If you notice the glowing skulls in the pit, that was a hint that we probably shouldn't go down there. So having claimed another ghost, we can now run into this new room, and we'll be shown a camera of a ghost and a jump switch above. And if we look at the floor, it may give you a hint that this dice is movable. There is a track that we can move it along. And the one tile that's different is the optimum place in which to position it. This is basically a way of helping us to reach the slope above. It is possible, if you're really nifty, to reach the slope without moving the dice, but it's probably a lot quicker to just move it than it is to run and jump many times. Now that we've moved the dice, we can stand at the edge and backflip to the slope, grabbing the ghost in the process, and then we can jump forward and grab this ladder. We can then shimmy around and use this jump switch. That jump switch is going to open another section of the mirror maze. As we can see there, at the end of that corridor, a curtain has opened, and this panel is now flipping around to allow us quick exit. We don't have to go back over the monkey swing a second time. I love the effect you see when you look through loads of the glass panels. The room sort of glows and it looks very magical. As we enter this room, we'll see that there are a load of clown pictures on the wall, each one with a button beneath. And these pictures serve as a clue as to what we need to do. We can claim another ghost, and as we run back across the room, we'll see that the exit door is now shut. Oh dear, this means we're going to have to escape somehow. So we can grab another ghost, and the correct button is the one with the smiling clown.
I hate clowns. Glad I brought my guns.
A cheeky nod to the TR 2013 I Hate Tombs reference there. Let's see what happens if we press the wrong button. Basically, a big dice will fall from the ceiling and crush us like a bug. So let's not do that. I'm just going to reload. And as we saw there, all the clowns spookily woke up when we pressed the correct button. So we're going to have to do a battle with the clowns before we can leave. And if we shoot one of them, then it will drop a key for us. So let's go and use that key, and we'll then be able to leave this area. I was very pleased with the way I got the clowns to spookily giggle at Lara as she was doing battle with them. Very eerie. 9 out of 10 ghosts found. Just one more to go. So let's run back into the main hallway. And for some reason there, I thought I'd already found all of them. I didn't realise I'd just run past one. So let's go back and grab it. And we'll then get a camera showing us that the exit has opened. That was literally where we were just running. Time to discover the mystery of the Carnival caper.
The exit door is still shut. Now what?
Shooting this grate, we can see a secret hideout.
Hands on your head. Well, if it isn't Grinchy Carnival.
What? No.
Thought you could scare me, did you? I've faced far tougher adversaries than the likes of you. It's you who's behind all the sabotage. And these popcorn packets are quite incriminating too.
This is my carnival, and pretty soon I will have been in charge again. That beautiful Ms Wanda has no right to be manager.
You're coming with me.
Grinchy Carnival. I should have known. You've always had a chip on your shoulder since I arrived. What did you hope to achieve here? Discredit me so that you are put in church again?
And I'd have been fine if it wasn't for you, meddling Croft.
With more of your mismanagement, who knows what would have happened? Well, I'm the manager now. I gave you a chance, but now you're fired.
Barking mad. Good riddance. Now to use the golden tickets to free Santa.
And we did it! We discovered the identity of the culprit, Grinchy Carnival. And we now have all 10 golden tickets. So all that remains is to go and free Santa from the grotto. This is an identical copy of the main hub, but as you can see there, most things are now closed off. So let's just go and free Santa.
What? You found them all? You're a professional.
Indeed.
So place the golden tickets in the slot. We only need to do this once. And now we can enter the snowy grotto. Hello, Santa.
Ah, Lara, long time no see. Thank you for rescuing me. I've been trapped in this grotto for ages. I can finally get out of here and start on my deliveries. It's almost Christmas.
No problem, Santa. Glad to be of help. Again.
The carnival is now open!
Oh, Merry Christmas!
And Happy New Year!
Hey.
As the end credits roll, we'll be treated to a firework display above the fairground. The grand opening was a success. Santa was present, we successfully freed him, and he's now able to go on his deliveries. Once again, Lara has saved Christmas. It's been quite the epic journey to finish this level and tie all the threads together, so I do hope you enjoy it and have lots of fun at the carnival. We're just appreciating the fireworks here for a minute before the final stats of the level appear. As you can see there, it took me an hour and a half to play this. I wasn't rushing, but I wasn't dawdling too much either, and I did know what to do. So this is quite the epic level. There's a lot to get your teeth into here. So that is it. All that remains is for me, and on behalf of my fellow builders, I want to thank you for watching this and hopefully playing it as well. We hope that you have lots of fun at the fairground. Hopefully a nice, bright, sparkly, cheerful level to brighten up what can be a dark and gloomy time of year. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do consider liking and subscribing so that you're notified when I upload a future video. This is Agent XP. Thank you for watching. TTFN and Happy Christmas.